It's fascinating how we, as a society, often shy away from talking about death. It's almost like we're afraid to acknowledge its inevitability.
I think it's a combination of things. There's a fear of the unknown, of course, but also a fear of causing pain or discomfort to those we love. We don't want to burden them with thoughts of our own mortality.
That sounds incredibly valuable. It must be a very challenging but rewarding role.
It is. It's a privilege to be present with people during such a profound time in their lives. We witness incredible strength, resilience, and love. It's a reminder of the beauty and fragility of life.
I'm curious, how do you approach these conversations with people who might be hesitant or even scared to talk about death?
It's important to meet people where they are. Some people are open to talking about death in a very direct way, while others need a more gentle approach. I often start by asking open-ended questions like, "What are your thoughts about what happens after we die?" Or, "What are your hopes and fears about the end of life?"
That's a good approach. It allows people to share their own perspectives and feelings without feeling pressured.
Exactly. And it's important to listen without judgment. We all have our own beliefs and experiences, and it's important to respect those differences. The goal is to create a safe space for open and honest communication.
I think it's also important to remember that talking about death doesn't have to be a somber or depressing experience. It can be an opportunity to reflect on life, to share memories, and to express love and gratitude.
I agree. It can be a time for healing, forgiveness, and closure. It's about celebrating the life that was lived and finding meaning in the journey.
I'm glad we're having this conversation. It's a reminder that death is a natural part of life, and that by talking about it openly and honestly, we can make it less frightening and more meaningful for ourselves and our loved ones.
I couldn't agree more. It's about embracing the whole spectrum of life, including its end, and by doing so, we can live more fully and appreciate the precious gift of each day.
But isn't it ironic that by avoiding these conversations, we might actually be making things harder in the long run? When someone we love is facing the end of their life, we're left scrambling to figure out their wishes and preferences, often in the midst of grief and emotional turmoil.
Absolutely. It's like we're trying to protect ourselves from the pain of loss, but in doing so, we're actually creating more pain and uncertainty. Open communication can help us navigate these difficult times with more clarity and compassion.
I've heard that palliative care doctors often encourage families to have these conversations early on. What's your experience with that?
Yes, it's a crucial part of our work. We help families understand the different stages of illness and the options available, and we encourage them to talk about their wishes and preferences for end-of-life care. It's not about making decisions about death, but about making decisions about life, even in the face of death.
That's a powerful way to put it. It's about making sure that the person's final days are filled with dignity, comfort, and love, according to their own values and desires.
Exactly. And it's not just about medical care. It's about the emotional and spiritual needs of the individual and their loved ones. It's about creating a sense of peace and closure.
I've also heard about the concept of death doulas. Can you tell me more about that? What role do they play in helping people navigate the end of life?
Death doulas are like guides and companions for people who are facing death. We provide emotional support, practical assistance, and advocacy for the dying person and their loved ones. We help them to create a peaceful and meaningful end-of-life experience according to their wishes.